Warning, this video has very vulgar words and topics in these jokes. This is 16 plus, if anything. If your child watches this, maybe you should watch out for what they're looking at. Keep a better eye on them. Be a better parent.
Hello, everybody. This is the Buddy and Keith shit show. On to my friend Anakin.
Told you about the time my buddy Keith tried deep fried turkey. Third degree burns over 90% of his body. The doctors had to call up other doctors because they ain't ever seen burns on top of existing burns.
I never tell you about the time my buddy Keith, he went downstairs to go get a snack in the middle of the night. Well, it turns out he couldn't decide what to eat in the fridge, so he deep fried the fridge. He said it was the most tasty thing ever. Pretty sure he got some radiation poisoning after that.
I ever tell you about the time my buddy Keith took some LSD? It was the wildest trip of his life. He ended up turning into a rat, went into a KFC style deep fryer, and just swan dived that bitch into it.
At the time, my buddy Keith, pretty tired. He wanted to go get his snack. And, the fridge was still deep fried. But anyways, I remember he tripped down the stairs, and I remember explicitly hearing the sizzling noise. Turns out he tripped down the stairs, and his dick fell in that deep fryer.
I'll tell you about the time my buddy Nick turned into this weird little spirit called Ori. He was a bigger asshole than he was before. I had to put him into rehab, and he turned back, but now he got a glowing light around his waist. I don't know what that's about, but apparently when he takes a dump, he calls it a holy shit. I ever tell you about the time my buddy Keith had to avenge 500,000 people from dying? So he ended up avenging some whole ass pop convention. He went across the entirety of the universe, picked up a Keith, taken another Keith, picked up Keith number 3, picked up a midget Keith, a water Keith, and a fucking Keith made out of fucking meat fries. He called himself the Keith Avenger or some shit like that. And then had to fight this weird ass deep fryer with a golden ass rock in front hand. It was really called the deep nose or fry nose or whatever the hell it was called.
I ever tell you about the time I found my buddy Keith's pocket dimension, closet. Turns out it was pocket dimension A. Turns out there's a lot of deep fryers in there. I'm pretty sure there's another pocket dimension closet and it's full of turkeys.
I'll tell you about the time my buddy Keith solved a Rubik's Cube in like 0.2 seconds. Man, he got so hyped he threw the Rubik's Cube into a deep fryer. I have never seen something blow up so fast. Apparently, that's a deep fryer, Nick. Anyway, he didn't get third-degree burns all over his body, fortunately, but his mom did. About the time my buddy Keith built a flying deep fryer, he called it the deep flyer.
I never tell about the time my buddy Keith deep throw a deep fryer. It was the most unholy thing I ever saw, but it was also the most amazing thing ever.
I can tell you about the time me and my buddy Keith tried this knockoff Dr. Pepper called Dr. Thunder. I don't remember the exact details of it, but I explicitly remember waking up, hearing Keith say, "Where there's lightning, there's thunder." The next thing I know, I hear the most earth-shattering fart. And apparently he had a deep fryer on his lap, too, and apparently it fell over. Most foul smell I've ever smelt, and there was just piss and deep-fried shits everywhere. I ever tell you about the time my buddy Keith went to a strip club? He was having a time of his life seeing the naked chicks, and then one time this fat chick came out, walking real weird, too. She was like... And by the time she got this issue, she turned around and started throwing it back real hard. Turned out a deep fryer, flew out of her pussy and hit Keith in the head. You should have seen the news articles that day. It was some stupid shit like, man gets attacked in the head by a flying deep fryer. No, deep flyers.
About time me and my buddy Keith and Nick, we decided to go to Alabama. Well, turns out we found some really hot chicks. Turns out it was incest. Yeah, we had to skip town after that.